Good evening, everybody. Namaste. Happy Diwali to you all from Kadambari ji and from Safik and from my side. So it's wonderful to see you all in this beautiful occasion, the celebration of lights and the victory of good over evil. So today we will be continuing the series which we have begun 3 weeks back, which is enhancing early childhood. And today we will specifically look at the cognitive and motor development of children. So we have with us Kadambari ji, who is an educationalist and who is a writer and a conscious parent and a contributor to the field of education in her own way. And so with this, I think we have again in for this session as well several questions to keep you all engaged, and I request you at any time, if in case you have any doubts with respect to the topic, you can please comment in the chat box on Facebook, and we will be addressing them in the session towards the end. All right, so welcome to the session, Kadambari ji. It's wonderful to have you again. So quickly jumping into the topic for today, that is the cognitive and motor development. We will start off with the motor development.
Right.
So to begin with, I think in the previous sessions, we have understood that motor development, with respect to motor development, there are two aspects: the fine motor skills and the gross motor skills of children. So can you explain again with respect to this aspect? Can you help us differentiate between what would come under fine motor skills and what would come under gross motor skills?
So motor skills in themselves simply means the actions and the movements of the muscles. And this is based on how efficiently our muscles are able to move and come into action. Not only depends on general health, which we have attained through nutrition, not only children, even adults, but also how we have developed the skill of using these muscles. So by themselves, they don't develop the skill of being used to accomplish tasks, right? So if we were to divide, like you said, if we were to sort of divide them into two broad categories of fine motor and gross motor would mean all the large muscles. Gross motor skills involve using the large muscles in the body. And the fine motor means using the smaller muscles in the body. So these would be muscles. In the case of gross motor, would be muscles which come into action when we are throwing a ball, catching a ball, the shoulder, the arm, kicking a ball. I'm just taking the example of using a ball as a prop. So when we are kicking a ball, catching a ball, or throwing a ball, arm, leg, longer muscles, larger muscles are coming into action. When we talk about fine motor, it is when we pick up a spoon to eat, pick up a pencil to write, pick up anything using our hands and fingers. The smaller muscles. The smaller muscles are not only of the hand and fingers, but they are also in the feet. And they are also in the face. For example, the tongue is also a fine motor. Fine motor muscles are there. So this is broadly the distinction between what is fine motor and what is gross motor. And they both work in coordination with each other.
Okay.
And what we do with children can be specific for developing either fine motor or gross motor or both, or predominantly one. But they're all interconnected, right? Yes. So that is basically the difference.
Yeah, beautiful. I think I learned myself a new aspect that even tongue is using the tongue is also a fine motor skill. That is something interesting. I didn't know from and yeah, to add to that, I think first the child actually, correct me if I'm wrong, the child develops the gross motor skills initially and then probably moves on to pick up the fine motor skills. I think the progression or the development is in this way, right?
Right.
Okay.
And also there are many principles actually which we won't delve into too much in detail, but since you touched upon it, there are many principles of development guiding the motor skills and abilities. One is
Hmm.
like what you said. The other is the muscles and the body develops from head downwards,
Right.
center outwards. Therefore, we see the child establishing stability in the neck first. So their head is wobbly, right? And when the
Right.
child is around 6 7 months, everybody in the family is asking one very pertinent question: is she able to keep her head straight by herself? It's a
Right. Right.
milestone. Then now, is she able to walk? Then the answer will be no, no, she's not able to walk, but she's able to sit up. Second
Hmm.
milestone. So from head to the spine to the hip to the legs,
Okay.
right? And then when children are learning to stand, but yet haven't begun to walk, so
Yes.
they then again in the families everybody is discussing, oh no no, she's standing with the support of the table, with the support of the sofa, but not taking a step, because again the toes are the fine motor, you need them for the
Hmm.
grip, right?
Yes.
So there's
Absolutely.
strength in the leg to stand, but there is strength in the development in the fine motor of the toes is not there for them to take a grip and take a step and move forward.
Right.
So yes, there are many principles guiding the the how the stages, and in what is the process in which these different muscles
Development.
develop.
Yeah.
Head downwards. For our viewers, they can simply probably the takeaway is head downwards. So first will be the neck, the spine, then in to out. First will be then the spine again, then the shoulder, then the arms. And then
Hmm.
if they know these simple principles, they will observe children at home and not fret over it. When they will know what is the milestone expectation.
Right. Very interesting that if you actually observe the child and then celebrating these small milestones itself, I think is a joy of parenthood. All right. So just moving on. So why is it first of all important to develop these skills of gross motor skills, fine motor skills, or in general the motor development? How is that useful?
See, life is about a lot of physical movement. We are not stationary, right? So, being able to perform any kind of physical activity without a struggle. That
Hmm.
is why we focus on, through activities and through play, we focus on developing the muscles and the body of our children, so that as they grow up they don't struggle in performing simple physical tasks, and then later on slightly more complex physical tasks, sports, or and other activities which require them to move physically. That is one. Second is also certain amount of self confidence, right? It is about your body. Your body is like your temple, right? In and out. So if you are functioning, you're a well oiled machine, you will have that confidence that yes, I can perform any task. Learning, then specifically in the case of children, learning becomes very easy, because then these are the foundation, not only the motor, cognitive, whether various other domains which we have been talking about. These are all foundations for receiving knowledge, learning, and expressing, understanding the world. So these are the foundations. So secondly, this foundation needs to be strong so that their self confidence in beginning to learn is on a higher level. They are not underconfident that they cannot use some part of their body if required in the process of learning. And then for sports, again, like I mentioned, and some basic life skills also depend on our physical abilities. So these are the kind of reasons and factors for which we must focus on our children's fine and gross motor skills from a very young age.
Right, absolutely. Uh, so now, and the role of parents is also, I think, extremely important in identifying these areas of development and understanding and kind of stimulating, encouraging, giving more opportunities for the child to actually develop gross motor skills and even fine motor skills. So then that's where the role of parents can really become very important. So now moving on. So the concept of
Happy
readiness.
Diwali. Happy Diwali.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you. A lot of, I think we've started bursting crackers. So, what are the building blocks for writing readiness? Because writing is another very important fine motor skill which the child has to develop. So, what are,
Right.
if you could touch upon some of the basics or building blocks for how do we know that the child is ready or the child is, in what ways can the child be kind of encouraged in this process?
Building, before coming to the building blocks, the readiness of the child, again, we have discussed in our previous episodes about
Hmm.
uh, readiness of the body, at what age, what to expect, how much to expect. Now, like I said, a 6 month old can only hold up their neck. They
Hmm.
cannot uh, they cannot begin to walk, right? So that is the kind of physical readiness is required to perform certain tasks. So we must not prematurely force children to stand or to walk or to write,
Hmm.
write, even write, because that's a lot of stress in India, especially when children are for pressurized to begin to write from a very, very young age.
Hmm.
Awareness is spreading now. So these kind of premature expectations need to be avoided. Building blocks for your motor and motor development in the fine and the gross could be hand activities which are related to hand-eye coordination,
Hmm.
where performing a task requires the successful coordination of the eyes and also your hand movement. Many activities will fall under that. And then is crossing the midline. Two very useful activities in this are painting,
Hmm.
vertical painting, and dance movements. So what
Okay.
happens is, crossing the midline means if this is my midline, I'm painting vertically, means it's different from painting on a paper on a desk, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to cross over. I crossed over and I'm painting on this side, crossing over.
Hmm.
Similarly,
Okay.
in dance moves, it's like this. You cross over the
Hmm.
midline. Activities which are making sure that the children are crossing over the midline. Both sides of the body should be used. Muscles, fine and gross, should be used. Then hand and finger strength
Hmm.
for fine motor specifically. Picking seeds,
Yeah.
this pinching action, using a tweezer,
Okay.
threading beads,
Hmm.
using clay dough, clay
Yes.
modeling. These are the kind of activities which will strengthen the fingers and the hand. Then bilateral integration, more and more activities focusing on involving both sides of the body. Let us
Hmm.
not be driven towards one inclination towards one side of the body. Oh, my child is a left-handed child. Oh, my child is a right-handed child. I think we had spoken about it in one of our sessions that uh, in early childhood, children are capable of using both their
Amazing.
sides equally well.
Right.
It is often because of the pressure of the adults and this reinforcement that, oh, you're a lefty or you're a righty, that they begin to be inclined towards one. However, it's at the same time, it's natural to have one side domination. That's also there.
Hmm.
So the building blocks for motor development are activities based on hand-eye coordination, number one. Activities which involve bilateral coordination,
Okay.
activities which involve crossing the midline of the body,
Hmm.
right? And also activities that involve strengthening the hand and the fingers.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Uh, yeah. So I think these are some of the activities which I mentioned. But if the parents and educators know the basis, then they will on their own come up with lots of activities. Once they know, okay, hand-eye coordination, they will come up with a lot of ideas. Once they know, oh, finger and hand strength, they will come up with a lot of ideas. Oh, bilateral integration, they will come up with a lot of ideas. So once they know the principles, the foundations, they will come up with a lot of ideas themselves.
Right. Very interesting. I think these takeaways are way more implementable than what we discuss in general in theory. This is actually something that viewers can implement with their children. So,
Yes.
in these lines itself, can you suggest some of the activities for writing readiness? How do we prepare them so that they can be ready with they can start writing in their academic work or in general any work?
Right. So, Harshita, one big mistake which parents make and many educational institutes are still making is that they think that writing becomes better by starting to write. That's not the
Hmm.
case. Writing becomes better when the muscles involved in writing are developed and
Absolutely.
those skills are developed. Writing does not become better by prematurely forcing a child to write, prematurely expecting a child to make certain curves, hold a grip when they don't have the fine motor strength, the ability, or the skill to hold the grip, right?
Hmm.
Or to make those curves. It is damaging. I'm starting with this cautionary note because a lot of mistakes on these lines are made.
Yes.
So, writing becomes better by enhancing the fine and gross motor abilities of the child, and writing well is an outcome of a balance between fine and gross. So,
Hmm.
what you need to focus on in early childhood is activities which develop the fine and gross motor. Those activities are in playway and, like I said, clay modeling, play doh,
Hmm.
stringing beads,
Right.
pouring water from one cup to another, from one
Hmm.
jar to another, vertical painting,
Okay.
using using finger painting,
Oh.
hand printing, even feeling textures from your feet and toe, playing in the sand pit, sorting objects,
Yes.
give them lots of colors, maybe a lot of pom pom balls, for example, pom pom balls of different colors and sizes, different seeds. Be careful, don't give very small seeds. See what
Hmm.
is the age of the, give age appropriate materials.
Hmm.
After the age appropriateness is there, even then adult supervision should be there when beads and seeds are involved, right?
Right.
Sorting objects on the basis of color, on the basis of size, on the basis of type, tracing and cutting paper, not only by
Hmm.
scissors, by hand also, right? This is a paper, just taking a paper and cutting it,
To
tearing
different
it,
yeah shapes
tearing it.
and yeah.
Even if for a young child, she may not be able to cut it into a particular shape, but I
Right.
can try and I'm my fine motor is quite developed in that sense, so I can try and cut a kind of a triangle,
Right.
right? So that can come gradually. The difficulty level can be increased with age, but these are the
Hmm.
kind of activities you can do. I will show you. I have kept some here with me today.
Oh,
even
excellent.
blo- Even blocks. So you see, this is a block of a crocodile, and then this is a block of a flamingo,
Right.
right? So I'll take one of the examples. It's in three pieces. I'm going to break it down. So now the
Hmm.
child also has to also figure out what piece comes where, because it's a picture they're trying to put together.
Right.
So even the cognitive is involved.
Cognitive development. Beautiful.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that all domains are interconnected,
Correct.
right? So there's the legs, the tummy, and then the head of the crocodile. Both hands are being used. Both hands have to be used, right? Eye coordination is also there.
Hmm.
Then I mentioned tracing. Now, for our viewers, what is tracing? Tracing could also mean these are some number cards,
Hmm.
right? So
Yes.
these number cards, I'm not able, yeah. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are, this part is of sandpaper.
Okay.
So you are only, so this is readiness. This all comes in part of readiness to write,
Mm.
read, numeracy. So something with numbers would also be readiness for numeracy. Readiness.
Mm.
I'm again and again focusing on the term readiness.
Mm.
So I'm tracing with my
Oh,
finger,
oh,
right?
excellent.
So
Mm-hmm.
sense in a sensorial way, it all goes into their memory.
So they needn't do the tracing with the pencil or anything, but it's just with the hand to kind of understand the shape and do the hand-eye coordination, right?
Right. But I mean, if they want with the fingers, any of the
Mm.
fingers or one, they can do tracing on sand.
Okay,
They
okay.
allow, like, that's why I said even sandpit is multidisciplinary in that sense. So
Mm-hmm.
tracing can be with fingers or on ready-made cards or cards the teacher makes or parents make.
Okay.
And this is just an example. There are many ways. Now these are some beads with numbers. Can you see?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
So this is what I mean by when we are threading. We have a
Mm-hmm.
thread here. Now this may look like a small activity, but it's a big task. You're
Yeah.
looking, you're taking the thread through the hole, and see, this will all be very flimsy, floppy for a child when you know it will fall.
Absolutely.
They may not be successful putting it in.
Yeah.
So slightly older child, you can add readiness for numeracy. 6 beads.
Mm.
Let's put 2 beads. You
Okay.
know, so these
Mm-hmm.
are the kind of activities you should focus on and not focus on writing per se, because it is about children making marks and all those things. So the general expectations that parents and teachers should have when the children are age 1 to 3 is
Mm.
that they are making random marks with pen, paper, scribbling. They are scribbling.
Mm.
Let them scribble. That is preparing them to write.
Right.
From 3
Okay.
to 6, from 3 to 6, you can expect them to make diagonal lines, straight
Mm.
lines, circle, square. That's
Mm.
readiness for writing. That's all. That is readiness for writing. Age appropriate readiness.
Okay, excellent. I think these activities, the models you showed us really helps us understand the whole concept very clearly. So, what could be some pre-writing expectation for the age 1 to 3 years old child? What can we expect from a child from 1 to 3, and probably if we have to differentiate with the child from 3 to 6, if we have to
Hmm.
compare, what could be the pre-writing expectation for this child and maybe the writing expectation for the three
Yeah,
to six child?
right. So, like I said, from 1 to 3, you just expect them to scribble around.
Mm-hmm.
Give them places, give them paper, give them a wall in the house where they're just scribbling. No need, no expectation for neatness.
Okay.
Neatness is not the expectation. Being able to color inside figures,
Mm.
right? Like this is an apple, color inside it. You must remain inside the boundary. That can be introduced maybe closer to 3 years old, coloring within boundaries, but then the
Okay.
size of the picture has to be really large.
Bigger. Mm.
Nothing intricate,
Mm.
right? This is in terms of coloring activity. So this is the maximum expectation you should have. 3 to 6 is, like I said, being able to make straight lines, diagonal
Mm.
lines, being able to complete a circle. My daughter is close to 3,
Okay.
and she was able to complete a circle only 2 months back, and she
Oh,
has done it only 4 or 5 times ever since,
okay.
right? So and that also doesn't, it's just like completing the whole cycle. It won't really even look like a
So perfect.
circle, perfect little ovalish, but being
Mm.
able to connect the starting to the end again. So this is
Right.
the kind of expectations they should have. And like I said, focus on the activities to build writing readiness. rather than focusing on writing in this age group.
Okay, wonderful. Um, so moving on, if you could touch, now that we have covered, I think, motor development elaborately. Now let's try to kind of move a little bit to the cognitive development. So if you could introduce about what are cognitive abilities, and if you could give us some examples to understand this concept.
So cognitive is related to the brain, the process of the mind. Some of, in simple language, some of the examples are when we are thinking, problem solving,
Right.
right? And remembering, recall, attention, the attention, recall, memory, problem solving. These are the areas which fall under the cognitive function. And even when we are doing a motor related task, which the activity, it may be predominantly motor domain, yet the cognitive is used. So again, domains are interconnected. Even dreaming, fantasizing, abstract thinking, part of cognitive function.
Yes. I think in the last session also we kind of introduced different
Yes.
domains of development, and also we touched upon the cognitive development. So kind of connecting to the last session, if we could discuss about Piaget, one of the most important influential psychologists, I would say, who
Right.
contributed to the cognitive development. So can we discuss his theory?
So Piaget's cognitive development theory, he believed that children are not less intelligent or anything than adults. They just think differently. What I've understood from his theories, what he's trying to say is that children uh, work with the physical world around them, process their experiences, manipulate the physical world around them, make necessary changes
Right.
to their experiences, and correct their own selves also. So this is primarily what Piaget believed, that children are capable of manipulating, understanding, processing, perceiving the physical world around them, and that they also make the necessary adjustments based on these experiences that they acquire. Therefore, experiencing through the senses and the physical body is extremely important in early childhood, even for cognitive development.
Right. So yes, so Piaget has divided the entire cognitive development into different stages, starting from sensory development and pre-operational, operational, and formal thought development. So if we could briefly discuss about what happens in these stages.
Right. So we'll focus only on two stages in that case, because then our early childhood age group is up till age 6, and
Right.
Piaget's first stage of cognitive development is sensory motor, which is up till the age of 2, where children are understanding everything around them through touch and feel, basically sensorial experiences through their physical bodies. Then the second stage is from 2 years to 7 years, which is the preoccupational stage, like you said. There the abstract thinking begins. If they are not able to see a toy in front of them, but they ask for it, where has it gone? That means they know that if they can't see it, it still exists. Also, we spoke about object permanence.
Right.
So in the preoccupational stage, they are thinking, their creative thinking is happening, abstract thinking is happening. So these are the two stages in the early childhood.
Yeah.
So one is the sensory motor up till age 2, then 2 to 7 is the pre-operational stage. He also divided this whole process of children understanding the world around them, making adjustments to new information into a few uh, stages. The first, he called this set of schemas, and the next is assimilation. Then the next is accommodation. Are we with each other? I am pausing.
Yeah. I've just muted myself because there's a little noise, but I may, yeah, you're getting through. Your voice is getting through.
Yeah. So like I said, the first is schemas, the second is assimilation, accommodation, and equilibration. Right? Am I right?
Accommodation. What did you say after that?
Equilibration is the fourth one.
Yeah, equilibrium
Yeah,
and equilibrium. Yes.
yeah, equilibration. So in schemas, he believed that children are always having a set of knowledge, existing knowledge with them. This could be physical knowledge or it could be mental knowledge. And he doesn't think that the mind of a child is empty. So that means every child is born, even born with some set of basic knowledge that he has, information, knowledge. And then comes assimilation, which means the process where he or she is taking in new information. Right? So, for instance, a child has seen a dog for the first instance. And assimilation, for example, would mean, oh, the dog barks, the sound of the dog is like this, dog has 4 legs, and then there are different kinds of dogs also. So building on the existing schema.
Absolutely.
And accommodation would mean that there is an existing, making some alterations to the existing schema.
And adding something new, modifying, and then if dog is there and suddenly there's a giraffe, that is something extremely new, and
Yes.
you have to make adjustment to understand that.
Right. So children are smart enough to do that too.
Absolutely.
And then the last one is equilibration, which means the right balance between assimilation and accommodation. So we don't need to always keep every new piece of information we have. We keep some, we review some, we reject some, we make corrections, we correct ourselves. So this is the way he believed that children, based on their schemas, build on those existing schemas, how they accommodate, how they manipulate, how they reject some information, how they accept and register some information, how they create the right kind of balance. And this kind of complex cognitive function is happening in little children. So they are very smart creatures.
Right. So wonderful. I think we've come to the end of our discussion for today. So let me just probably touch upon whatever we have discussed. In case I missed, you can add whatever we have discussed. So we have started off by understanding what are fine motor skills, gross motor skills, and you've given us beautiful examples of holding something, kicking a ball, all of that as gross motor skills, and writing and sewing or stitching, all of these as more a part of fine motor skills. We've also understood it's important to develop these as a part of the physical development and as a part of engaging in physical tasks, motor related tasks for the child. And also, I think some of the activities you have also showed us really makes the child experience a sense of achievement, sense of fulfillment after the child has actually picked up some of these skills that we have discussed. So we've also understood about the writing readiness. So how it is not for the parents to pressurize the child to go on writing if the child is not unable to write. However, prepare the child by giving prescribing several activities in enhancing the child to kind of become ready to begin the process of writing. So there's a lot more that happens even before actually the child picks up a pencil and starts writing. So that is something which you beautifully discussed and showed us a lot of activities. And we've also touched up a little bit about how 1 to 3 what could be a writing expectation, and 3 to 6 what could be the writing expectations. And towards the end, we've talked a little bit about cognitive development, and how I think in the last session as well we've discussed about cognitive development at in depth. And today's session we've focused specifically on Piaget's theory of cognitive development, where we discussed sensory motor stage as well as pre-operational stage, some of the concepts of how the child is able to understand and relate to the world around and make sense of the world around through the processes of schemas and assimilation, accommodation. These are some of the terms that we have understood today. So I think it's been a fruitful session, and being on this specific occasion of Diwali, I think we did have a wonderful discussion with you. I think also a live demonstration was really helpful in this whole process for all the viewers. I'm sure they have a lot of takeaways from the session. Thank you so much, Kadambari ji. It was a great session. If you'd like to add anything, please go ahead.
It was a wonderful session, and happy Diwali to you and to everybody, all our viewers. Have a great year ahead. And parents and educators, there's only one message I have on this auspicious occasion, that do not see the domains of your children individually. They are all connected. So your brain, the nervous system, and the muscles work in coordination with each other. So it is important that we enhance all the domains. It is important that if you want your children to memorize better, think better, problem solve, recall, it is important that they also play, they use their hands. And since the mind and the body are connected, please allow your children to play a lot and do not have premature expectations. Please know the milestones, please know the readiness.